welcome viewers to an epic journey into the darkest and bloody pages of history. Imagine a gleaming mountain of pure gold, a treasure so vast it could easily buy an entire kingdom. Picture that same glittering gold becoming a deadly curse, dragging you down to a watery grave. This nightmare destroyed the Spanish forces during the dark and tragic night called La Noche Triste. How did a brilliant conquest turn into the bloodiest massacre in history? Let us find out. In November 1519, Hernán Cortés marched his 500 men toward the Aztec capital. Tenochtitlan emerged from the misty lake as a floating metropolis of unimaginable wealth. Historical records state the Spanish were utterly amazed by the massive towering stone pyramids. Emperor Moctezuma II ruled over millions with absolute and terrifying divine power. But ancient prophecies clouded his mind, making him hesitate at the worst possible moment. He tragically mistook Cortés for the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl, returning from the east. Instead of crushing the small army, the emperor opened the city gates and welcomed the strangers. He offered magnificent gifts of solid gold, hoping to appease these mysterious divine beings. This fatal decision ignited an endless, burning greed within the hearts of the Spanish conquerors. The foreigners brought strange and terrifying creatures, heavily armored war horses, and vicious war mastiffs. Indigenous chronicles document the absolute terror caused by the thundering roar of Spanish muskets. The visitors were housed in the grand palace of Axayacatl, surrounded by unimaginable riches. If you possessed the power to destroy an invader, would you let faith blind you to their real threat? Cortés quickly realized his fragile position, trapped deep inside an island city of thousands of warriors. He needed a drastic move to secure his survival and exploit the immense wealth of the empire. Through his brilliant indigenous translator, La Malinche, Cortés planned a bold and ruthless political strike. She stood carefully between two colliding worlds, translating every subtle threat into the native tongue. Her crucial role in this brutal conquest remains a deeply controversial topic among modern scholars. Cortés manipulated the tense diplomatic meetings, preparing to execute a shocking betrayal of trust. The Spanish commanders secretly armed themselves, ready to turn their royal host into a helpless prisoner. In a sudden and brazen move, Cortés held Moctezuma hostage inside his own royal palace walls. The once mighty divine ruler became a tragic puppet, forced to command his people at sword point. Spanish soldiers brutally demanded the collection of gold from every corner of the vast Aztec empire. Priceless golden artifacts and sacred statues were ruthlessly melted down into transportable gold bars. Decades of rich indigenous culture were systematically destroyed to satisfy a relentless hunger for wealth. To secure control, Cortés formed a massive alliance with the Tlaxcalan warriors, bitter enemies of the Aztecs. Thousands of vengeful indigenous fighters joined the Spanish ranks to crush the dominant empire. This historical truth shatters the myth that a few hundred Europeans conquered the continent alone. The atmosphere inside the island capital grew incredibly toxic as the Aztec citizens began to rebel. They watched with rising anger as their sacred temples were desecrated by arrogant foreign soldiers. The captive emperor lost all respect from his people, viewed merely as a weak and broken coward. He tragically pleaded for peace, but the heavy chains of European greed had already sealed his dark fate. Cortés was forced to leave the tent city, to fight a rival Spanish army sent to arrest him. He unwisely left the cruel and highly paranoid Captain Pedro de Alvarado in absolute command. Alvarado lacked any diplomatic skill, viewing every indigenous religious gathering as a deadly threat. The vibrant festival of Toxcatl was approaching, a major celebration honoring their powerful warrior gods. Thousands of unarmed Aztec nobles, priests, and dancers gathered in the grand plaza of the Great Temple. They wore magnificent ceremonial cotton robes and incredibly delicate quetzal feather headdresses. When paranoia and extreme greed combine, what horrific atrocities can desperate men commit? Alvarado commanded his heavily armed soldiers to seal the temple gates and trap the innocent worshippers. The paranoid Spanish forces launched a sudden, merciless slaughter against the defenseless Aztec nobility. Toledo steel swords violently sliced through the festive crowd, turning the sacred plaza into a bloody slaughterhouse. Historical texts describe the temple floor completely covered in severed limbs and a thick river of blood. This brutal massacre instantly destroyed any remaining illusion of peace between the two colliding worlds. The entire city erupted in absolute fury as fierce eagle and jaguar warriors organized a massive siege. They fiercely surrounded the Spanish quarters, launching thousands of deadly arrows and heavy stones. Cortés desperately returned to the burning city, finding his men trapped and facing total annihilation. He forcefully dragged the battered Emperor Moctezuma onto the palace balcony to calm the raging mobs. But the furious Aztec citizens rejected their fallen king, viewing him as a traitor to their ancient gods. A violent storm of heavy stones and deadly darts struck the captive emperor, fatally wounding him. Spanish accounts claim his own people killed him, while native records accuse Cortés of the assassination. Regardless of the truth, the death of Moctezuma marked the complete and chaotic collapse of the empire. The Spanish forces were completely cut off from all food and water supplies, trapped in a hostile island. The massive wooden drawbridges connecting the island to the mainland were systematically destroyed by the Aztecs. Facing certain death by sacrifice, Cortés ordered a desperate, silent retreat under the cover of darkness. They frantically built a portable wooden bridge to cross the dangerous gaps in the broken causeways. But even in their darkest hour of survival, the blinding greed of the Spanish conquerors did not fade. Cortés allowed his men to take as much looted gold as they could physically carry into the stormy night. Soldiers foolishly stuffed their heavy armor and pockets with massive chunks of the stolen golden treasure. This heavy burden of stolen wealth would soon become the ultimate anchor, dragging them to their deaths. On the dark, stormy night of June 30th, 1520, the Spanish silently crept out of the palace. A heavy, freezing rain pounded the escaping army, turning the narrow dirt paths into deep, slippery mud. They carefully placed their wooden bridge over the first water gap, attempting to cross in absolute silence. But an Aztec woman drawing water spotted the fleeing invaders and immediately raised a piercing alarm. The terrifying sound of the massive temple drums echoed through the rain, awakening the furious city. The chilling shrieks of death whistles pierced the stormy night as thousands of Aztec warriors mobilized. Countless wooden canoes suddenly emerged from the dark, foggy lake, completely surrounding the fleeing soldiers. Fierce indigenous warriors attacked from all sides, wielding deadly obsidian blades in the pouring rain. Panic completely consumed the Spanish ranks as their portable wooden bridge became hopelessly stuck in the mud. Trapped at the next water gap, the disciplined military formation collapsed into a chaotic, bloody stampede. Heavily armored soldiers desperately pushed each other into the dark, freezing waters of Lake Texcoco. The immense weight of the stolen gold trapped inside their armor quickly pulled them down into the muddy depths. Hundreds of greedy men drowned instantly, their lungs filling with water as they clung to their cursed treasure. The water channels became horrifyingly choked with the floating corpses of horses and Spanish soldiers. Survivors frantically crawled over the bloody bridge of dead bodies to reach the safety of the muddy shores. Aztec warriors ruthlessly captured, dragging Spanish soldiers to be sacrificed at their grand temple altars. The terrifying screams of captured comrades echoed through the rainy night, breaking the Spanish morale. Cortés finally reached the mainland, sitting under a large ancient tree, weeping at the absolute devastation. Over 2/3 of the mighty Spanish expeditionary force had been completely wiped out in a single night. The legendary Night of Sorrows proved that nature and vengeance could effortlessly crush foreign greed. Though the Spanish would return a year later to conquer, this bloody night remains an unforgettable tragedy. The cursed gold of Moctezuma still lies lost beneath the dark, muddy streets of modern Mexico City. Greed doomed the Spanish army. Do you believe their horrific downfall was a truly deserved punishment? Share your thoughts. Next, an Eastern tyrant seeks eternal life. What dreadful truth did he uncover? Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more thrilling historical mysteries. Thanks for watching.